Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Today, I wanted to talk about what happens to a relationship when we end up being a mother figure to our partner, to our grown adult partner. It leads to a lot of resentment and disconnection. We need our partners to show up as adults, ready to do adult things and ready to be a contributing member of our household. And for that, it's more than just, paying the bills or, doing some, chores around the house occasionally or even, taking on all the outdoor jobs or whatever. Those aren't enough. For a person to be fully invested in the relationship, they actually have to be choosing to be there and choosing to take on the responsibilities that come with that. So there are responsibilities that come with home ownership that are just unavoidable. And I often joke that had someone told me that I was going to be cleaning out the kitchen sink trap with all of the bits of food in it someday as a homeowner, I might have opted out. I'm not sure that you can escape that even if you're living in other situations. But you know what I mean? Like there's just things about home ownership that I mean, not having owned one before, living with my parents until we bought our first home, I didn't realize all of the little pieces and all of the little things and big things, but all of the little things that have a household running smoothly. And unfortunately, due to a lot of societal sort of beliefs and roles, women take on a majority of that caretaking of the home, all of those little details, right? So then when you add in maybe having children or, looking after animals or caretaking for other loved ones, when you add in those responsibilities, then everything just grows exponentially as far as stress and the things that we have to constantly juggle in our minds. And so when we talk about the emotional load of running a household, of looking after a family, if a majority of that's falling on women who are often also out working and contributing financially, we have to stop letting men off the hook for not showing up in the ways that are expected. You're expected to do these things if you're a homeowner. We don't get to escape them just because we don't want to do them or they're uncomfortable or we don't like them. I don't like cleaning a toilet. I still have to do it because we own a home that has toilets that we use. I don't like to cook meals. I'm not a cook. I don't enjoy it. I'm not really great at it. I mean, I can cook a basic meal, but I'm not like a cook. And yet I can cook for my family. And I know that that's a part of having a family. So I suck it up and I do it. So I think what we really need is for our partners to step up and do those things, not just the chores around the house. I mean, step up. Step up to your partner. Step up to maturing and growing as a person. Get better at life in general, because that's what we're constantly trying to do. And so we're looking for our partners to do that as well. And if you've chosen to have children, if you chose to be a parent, then you need to realize that that is a selfless act that you need to invest in fully. And, we can talk about the maternal instincts and all of that stuff and how women are, genetically or whatever geared towards that. And I just think that's a bunch of BS. I think that we've been given that role. And for a lot of years, women were forced into that role because, they weren't able to work outside the home. They didn't have a lot of rights. They couldn't choose different paths in life. But now we can choose. So if we're choosing to start a family, if we're choosing to be parents, then we're choosing to put our own selfish needs aside in a lot of ways And that doesn't mean that we put aside who we are as a person, but it also means that we do these things for our loved ones because it's necessary, and they're just expected selfless acts. We don't expect for our children to meet our emotional needs, but we are expected to meet theirs. So it's the same with a partner in a lot of ways, but really, and we shouldn't expect our partners to meet all of our emotional needs, but they do need to meet some of them. They need to step up, and they need to be engaged, and they need to be willing to do that work. And as women, we need to stop letting them off the hook for not doing it, right? So we need to just let our partners know this is what we need from you. If you're not capable of doing that on your own, which most people aren't, then you're going to have to seek outside resources. So, as someone who believes that knowledge is power, I am constantly seeking out different ways to, learn and grow and to try to expand on the good things about myself, and also just try to manage some of the things that aren't so great. I mean, that's a part of life, right? So if you want your partner to put down the gaming remote or put down the phone or whatever, you're going to have these tough conversations with them. And if they're not able to hear those conversations or have that conversation in a mature and respectful way, that's an indication that there's a lot of emotional needs or a lot of a lack of emotional intelligence. That's what I'm trying to say. There's a lack of emotional intelligence there. And so it's not your job to fix that. You can support them in their growth if they're willing to, but they have to be willing to. And I think a lot of times we make it easy for them to not follow through or not be engaged because we just keep allowing it over and over again. And so I've talked about my own relationship before in the past. My husband and I have been together for 30 years. It hasn't always been, sunshine and rainbows. We've had our tough times. We've had some real ups and downs in our relationship. And I think what got us through it is that we were committed to growing our relationship. We were committed to doing whatever it took to keep that connection solid and alive. And a lot of it came down to, humor, a mutual respect that we had for each other as individuals. And it came down to our commitment to wanting to build this life together that was going to last for a lifetime. And so that takes a lot of work. And I can remember having a conversation during a particularly challenging time with my husband where, he's a gamer. He was a gamer. He's still kind of a gamer. But where I basically sat him down and I was like, I need you to level up. I need you to engage on the same level that I'm trying to engage on. And sometimes I'm slipping, sometimes I'm falling, sometimes I'm not able to really embody what I'm trying to achieve. But without your support and without you at least trying to be there at the same time with me, I feel very alone. I feel very alone. And I know that a lot of women get to this point where they feel like they're parenting another child because of the lack of emotional intelligence that their partner's bringing to the relationship. And there is nothing less sexy than having to parent an adult that is supposed to be your partner, that you're asking for them to show up in mature and healthy ways, and for whatever reason, they're not able to. And then if they're resisting getting help, that's just a libido killer right there. So if men are complaining about women not wanting to be intimate and want to be sexual with them, well, it's because we don't want to be your mother. there's nothing sexy about being your mother. And when you put us in that role, that's what happens. It kills our sex drive. And when we're constantly being asked to carry the emotional load for the whole entire household, not just with our kids, but with our spouse as well, it's exhausting and it's soul crushing, right? Because I think most people get into a relationship thinking that they're building a life with a partner, and when they realize that their partner's not on the same page as them, that's it's a lonely feeling, especially if they're not willing to re-engage and if they're not willing to invest in that growth in themselves. It's exhausting and it's lonely. And there's a lot of women out there who are just feeling like even though they're in a relationship, they're just alone. And that's just not cool. So if that feels like you, I get it. I've been there too. I can say, having kind of gone through it and come out the other side, that, there was still a lot of work that I needed to do on my own emotional health so that I could continue to grow. But it really, it took my husband stepping into that fully and engaging for us to really see that, the bigger change in our family dynamics. So I think that my growth would have continued to a certain extent anyways, because I just feel like that's been my journey. My life's journey has been to try to sort of grow and grow in understanding of myself and grow in compassion and love. And I think I could have done that on my own, but having my partner actually step up and embark on that journey alongside of me, his own journey of growth and healing, just made it easier for us as a couple, as a partnership, to then take that into our parenting roles and how we run our household. So it's alleviated a lot of the resentment and the anger that could build up when we weren't able to connect on a mature and respectful level. It was crushing our relationship. So now that we're able to understand our own triggers, understand where a lot of our reactions come from, has really helped. And then gaining that understanding of each other's triggers and also each other's love languages, and just being willing to stay curious and playful has made a huge difference in how connected we feel. And then that just sort of, flows into all aspects of our relationship. So when people say that they've exhausted all physical reasons for a low sex drive, then my question is what is going on in your relationship? What else is going on? Because that's just one symptom of it, right? And so if that sounds like you, then maybe it's time to explore what's below that symptom, what's beneath the surface. And I know that's an important one, but then when we unravel all of the knots around it and we get to that root cause, it just expands outward and has that domino effect in our lives. It can really truly change our relationship, not just to ourselves, but to the people around us in a more positive way. So if I can help in any way, excuse me, please feel free to reach out. You can private message me over Messenger. You can send me an email if you like. Steph, suggestion, the number 4, you, a little lowercase u, at gmail.com. And, certainly comment on my videos. I'd love to hear back from you. Does this resonate? Does it make sense? what's going on for you. Maybe we could talk about it, or I could do a video on it without mentioning your name, of course. But if you have a question that you think you'd like a different perspective on, I'm happy to give that. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining me. Namaste.